Today's Saturday, October 1st, 2016. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the Listener Feedback Show for Survivor Millennials vs. Gen X, Episode 2. 3
shows a week. You got your recap, you got your interview, and now it's time for the Listener Feedback Show. You know, last season we generated, it was over 32 hours of content. In the normal hour episode has 42 minutes in it. We generate so much extra content for the show we love here at Survivor Fans Podcast. It's just amazing.
It's just because we can't shut up.
You know what else is amazing?
What?
The quality of the folks that shared their thoughts, their ideas, their interpretations, their personal knowledge, and their prediction.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Mm-hmm. That's what this show is all about. Anything you want to add before we jump into it?
Let's just do it.
Okay, here come 25. Is that right?
25.
25 Survivor super fans. Knock yourself out. Kick us off, Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston, and I gotta say once again, baby, woo! Oh, yeah, baby. This was another fantastic, epic episode. So let's dig into it, baby. So why don't I start out with the underdog Gen Xers, and let's start out with Mr. David Wright. Man, this was indeed, I don't know what you think, Stacy, a big-time redemption episode for David. He starts out panicking, scared to death, and he still kind of is Cochran-esque, but somehow, through willpower, I guess you could say, he found a way to make fire and somewhat fit in, but according to guys like Chris and Brett, doesn't look like they're still in with him. But I love that he formed an alliance with Ken and even Cece, realizing they're on the bottom. Let's see how that goes. But now we got a swap coming, and I really love he found the idol in the coconut. That was pretty cool there, how he found it out of nowhere, and I love it because you're going to really work to not only find it but dig it, but really dig in it to get it out. So that was pretty cool. And as far as the upstart millennials, well, they somehow lose the challenge. Wow, I didn't expect it, to be honest. And somehow, Stacy, your USB, I don't know how you feel. Joanne her eyes must be rolling there, because somehow Fiji, how on earth did that princess survive? And man, even with Surfer Dude, I don't care if I win, Taylor. I mean, they're both completely oblivious to what's going on. How do they not realize the whole other 8 out of 10 see what's going on? Really? I mean, even your own alliance saw it. But to me, the winner of the week, guys, and I think, Stacy, you tell me what you think, and Joanne, you too, Michelle. That girl has some game in her, let me tell you. You know, her and a little bit of Jay as well, to somehow keep Figgy in the game, because I never would have thought the big gamer Maury would have been blindsided like that. I expected so much from her. Wow. I mean, this was a total shocker, but my hat's off to Michelle on that one, and she somehow got Will into to voting out Maury as well. And I really don't know how Michaela was able to vote with Figgy as well to blindside Maury. That was even a bigger shocker. And that thing with Hannah was so hysterical and tribal. Wow, I can't believe no one else really noticed it. Didn't look like it on the edit, at least, other than Jay. But man, that was hysterical. I thought Probst was going to have to go up to her when she was voting, when she was at the confessional booth there. She really didn't know what to do. Wow, she's one hell of a character, Aubrey-esque. She's all over the place, blah, 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 blah. But this was an epic episode, guys. Tribe swaps coming. Oh, and I got to say, that thing with Paul was very scary. Really thought he was on cardiac arrest there. But thank God nothing serious happened, though. And thank God no medic evac. Let's hope it stays that way, guys. But I'm digging this season, though. Love it. Take care.
Thanks, Pete. I'm with you. No evacs this season. Let's not have that.
That would be good. And I do have to say that both Michelle and Jay have gone up, in my opinion. I under-evaluated them.
I did not think anything of Michelle at all. I guess if I had anything to say...
I forgot she was on the show.
It would be that I thought that Figgy would be doing what Michelle is doing. So I got them exactly backwards.
Yeah.
But there was just no way I was going to pick Michelle again. I thought, no, that couldn't happen. We couldn't get another really good Michelle player. No.
Now, you wish you'd gone with 2L?
No, because she doesn't do it. There's nothing about her that clicked. I'm with Pete. I respect the moves that she made. She did great. Totally. I think actually Maury...
But I still don't like her yet.
Maury was the one that flipped Will, but certainly Michelle, by the sheer will of her personality.
Maury flipped Will?
Yes.
You mean because she wouldn't strategize?
Yeah, according to him.
Okay.
Yeah. She didn't just do enough to win him over.
Okay.
Right. So by the sheer will that Michelle imposed on Hannah, she got her to turn. They didn't necessarily need her at that point, but they learned something really valuable about Hannah and how easy she would cave in a pressure situation. So Hannah got tested. It wasn't a test of trust the way she thought. It was a test of her character. Maybe she'll be able to redeem herself the way David is.
I think she will, because she really didn't. She was so confused and isolated. I don't know why she didn't openly just say what was going on so she could get input from the other people. Why not do that? Again,
a test of character that I don't think she passed given what we were shown.
And that was Maury's big mistake, I think, is just kind of, it's just Hannah being Hannah, don't worry about it, Joe.
There was a potential lifeline for Maury, and Maury ignored it. Yeah. Yep. She's owned up to that, too.
In hindsight, wonderful.
Yes, it is. Monday morning quarterbacks. We're great. Yep. We are awesome at doing this kind of analysis. Phenomenal. All right, let's check in with BrandonA. I think he's a tad point.
No. Okay. I'm sorry. Hope I wasn't too loud. Hope I wasn't killing Joanne and Stacy's eardrums with that. But I am not happy right now. Fantastic episode. I'm not happy right now. Okay, first things, Joanne, I need you to do me a huge favor. Can you pretty please, with a cherry on top, tell me that at least 5 or 6 other people in the side challenge had Maury as their USB? Please, I do not want to have to risk singing at the end of the season because I lost my USB in the second week because of freaking Figgy. Oh, okay, man. Calm down. This sucks because now not only is Figgy still in the game, who I don't like, now Zeke and Adam might be on the chopping block, who I do like. And big up to Michelle for kind of making the big move. Good for her. Yay. Happy. But not really, because Maury's gone and Adam and Zeke are in trouble, and those were my people on that tribe. I kind of like Michaela, but she wasn't playing a good game this week either. There's no reason to be getting into, scuffles and all that with Figgy, calling people out, and you're doing too much. So, I don't know, man. But it's cool that David got an idol. That's fun. On the other side, I still think he's a terrible player, but the longer he has an idol, the longer he's on TV, hopefully, and he is fantastic TV. And big ups to Ken for kind of aligning with him, gaining his trust, and getting to see the idol, and he's a beast in those challenges, so I like to see where he may be going. Sunday kind of beasted in that challenge, too, and Brett, so good for them. Oh, I love Hannah, but I don't know if I like the decision she made for herself. I'm speaking. It could turn out well for her, but I don't know. I just don't know. But I'll tell you what, when she was at that, getting ready to cast her vote, and she hadn't decided yet, that was riveting television. I was like, oh my gosh, what's she going to do? What's she going to do? All right. Anyway, great episode. Man, I love me some Survivor. And also, I've been meaning to ask this for a long time, but I keep forgetting. Stacey, who do you think from the first 2 seasons of Alone would make really good players? I personally think David would be a good player. As well as, from the first season, I kind of liked Joe. For some reason, I think he would have been a good Survivor player. But I don't know. But anyway, I'm anxious to hear your thoughts, without obviously giving spoilers about who won and all that. I'll talk to all you guys next week. Peace.
Excellent. Thanks, Brandon. Sorry for your frustration there. It was, as he said.
It was very entertaining.
As a true super fan would say, though, it was a great episode. I will
say you were not the only one in the side challenge that lost to USB.
Yep, there's someone else that's warming up their pipes, getting ready to do some singing. So maybe you two will get to do a duet. That'd be awfully sweet.
You mean other than you?
Not me. I'm all right.
Oh, you think you're going to keep your USB 24 to the end of the show?
Let's move along. Let's see. Brandon's question about Alone. I actually think Alan would do awesome. I've seen him talk.
That's just because we love Alan.
Well, the guy's incredibly personable, and I think he's got an excellent social game. So, David, do you think David was, I don't know. So he's the one you put out there. I'm just not sure that he would be that good at it. Although given his profession, and he was a minister and had done outdoor survival training work and things, you would think he would be okay at that part.
Yeah,
you need somebody who can roll with it, who's got a good social game, and that's a show about being isolated, so that's a tough call.
Those are people who thought they'd do well isolated, but but he didn't.
I like the question because of that,
children,
though.
so.
Yeah, that's true.
But he did it. So and the lady, what was her name? The lady up in Morgan.
Yeah, I'm blanking on her name.
Well, too.
Yeah, I think she probably would do pretty good. She would be. I think she could probably do an under the radar game because she's so smart. And she would be super valuable to have because of all of her
knowledge of all the greens.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff
flora and the fauna.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah.
She could actually win.
Her medical stuff and,
Yep, if she could deal with being away from her family.
Oh, she could.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for that extra bonus question there, Brandon. Next up, we got an email from Beth in Virginia. Beth says, "Hi, Joanne and Stacey. I recently got back into Survivor and am hating myself for abandoning it somewhere around season 5, and found your podcast and my hard listener. This is my first time sending in feedback."
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Great to hear from you. It's also my first season playing JSFL, and like Stacey, I picked Figgy as my USB. I didn't put a whole lot of time into watching and reading the contestants' bios, but I liked what her bio showed and thought, if Stacey likes her, it can't be that bad of a choice. Sorry, Beth. Sorry about that.
Now she knows that.
I was actually, you learned a valuable lesson.
Figgy may win the season.
I was actually really drawn to Adam, but was too concerned that his mom being sick might lead to an early exit for him. You and a lot of other folks, I think. Anyways, I now know what it's like to experience the torn emotions I've heard other listeners mention in their feedback. I thought that voting out Figgy was the best decision for the tribe, and part of me wanted her to go. but I also didn't want to lose my USB so early. I didn't care much for Mari based on what I saw of her before the season began, but I really came to like her in these 2 episodes, so I was sad to see her go. Do you all think she will be invited back to play again in a future season? What do you think? I'm thinking no.
I don't think so. No, I don't think she will.
Yeah, I would be surprised, I guess.
Especially after the interviews.
I never would have cast her to begin with. I mean, I know why you would cast a YouTube personality, especially with Amazing Race casting all those YouTube personalities for their last season.
Yeah, but again, recruit. I'd rather see the hardcore fans, even if they didn't do as well.
Right, the ones who appreciate it more.
That they at least appreciate the game and what it's about.
Yeah, so I don't think so, but it's hard to tell with casting. They do stuff that doesn't make sense to me all the time. Regarding Hannah's flip at Tribal Council, part of me wonders if the high school dynamic of the cool kids versus the weird dorky kids came into play. Speaking as a former non-cool kid myself, it can be hard to resist the pull when you are essentially given the opportunity to join the cool kids group. And I think that played into Hannah's decision to vote with Michelle's alliance. I like how you framed that. Seeing Jeff poke his head around the corner to check in on her was definitely good for a chuckle. I'm hoping that Adam and Zeke will be able to convince Hannah to rejoin the Freaks and Geeks alliance and for them to pull Michaela and Will over to their side. Michelle may be the next one to have a target on her back if people realize all that she did to work the Mari vote. And finally, regarding the shakeup for next week, I don't think it'll be an actual player swap, but rather that a player, maybe a couple players from each tribe, will visit the opposite tribe for a day or two, then return to their original tribe and report back on the conditions over there. That's an interesting idea. It's possible. It's been done before.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to put together such a wonderful podcast. I'm so glad that I found it, and hopefully my feedback was adequate. You did fantastic. We're glad you found us too, and thanks for sending that in. Look forward to more. Next up, let's check in with Jill.
G'day, Joanne and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill in the Outback here. I'll keep it short this week. I think I'm cutting it pretty close to the deadline as the week just got away on me. It looks like I have a little teensy-wincy reality crush on Ken. Who saw that coming? I think he's wonderful, and I hope he goes far. And even David, I thought I had Ken for my USB, but I had a look and it's David, which isn't great news, but he did further than Mari, so it's not all bad news. Glad to see Paul was okay. That was looking a bit scary there for a second. And it was good to see Gen X do pretty well in the challenge and win that one. It would have been a good boost for them. And really, it did look like that the Millennials wanted to go to Tribal Council. A few of them were pretty excited about that. It was funny to watch. I guess they really are the carefree generation. And Hannah kept asking for a reason why she should vote for Mari, and Mari gave it to her with she's just over there thinking of puppies. That I just wanted her voted out there and then, but otherwise I quite liked her. I hope we get to see next week what reason that they had to give to Hannah why she should vote out Mari. I'm sure I had other pearls of wisdom to share with you all, but I'll wrap it up now. I need to go and look up if Kenny's available, and if he wants a trip to Australia, I'm sure he would fit right in the Outback. Thanks, Joanne, Stacey. Bye, everyone.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah, he probably would.
I'd give it a shot, Jill.
Yeah, you just got to, take the 4 or 5 year old daughter, bring her along too for the adventure, and you're good to go. Oh, that's awesome.
I could handle that.
I thought I had Ken as my USB, and it turns out it was David. You cracked us up with that. We were over here trying to keep from busting out laughing while you were saying all that. Thanks again, Jill. Next up, we've got a call from Joe.
Hello, Joanne and Stacey and all Survivor fans. Joe from Huntersville, North Carolina. First, before I get started, Stacey, great song. It was like listening to the master songwriter come up with the idea and putting vocals to it. Joanne, you must be proud. Back to the game. Wow, wow, wow. What a head fake. You think Paul is going to be evac'd from the game, which would make the Gen Xers 2 people down. So I thought the Gen X tribe would lose the immunity challenge. Propes, you dog. Fooled me again. Not only did Paul come back from the brink of death, he did an outstanding job in the challenge. By the way, during the challenge, did David remind you of the sloth on Zootopia? His athleticism almost lost it for them. It seems that the Gen Xers have only one alliance, Paul, Chris, Brett, and Sunday. I can't figure if Lucy is in it or not. David, Ken, and Cece are definitely on the outs. So it will take some master strategizing to break up that main alliance. The Millennials seem much more complicated. Figgy and Taylor, Michelle and Hannah, Jay and Taylor, Michaela and herself, Adam, Zeke, and Will with everyone. Wow, it sounds like an episode of a soap opera. I really don't know who's going home next. I look forward to everyone's insights. Take care.
Thanks, Joe.
Joe, have you ever thought about becoming a hypnotherapist?
Oh, you think he's got a good therapy voice?
Yeah, my head wanted to loll back.
Now you're saying he put you to sleep.
No, I'm not. I'm just
I thought it was riveting. I enjoyed it, Joe. You're just going to have to disregard what she said.
I enjoyed everything and heard everything he said.
As you dozed off.
No.
What kind of response is that?
I said hypnotherapy. You're not dozing off, dummy. It's completely total relaxation.
I see.
Haven't you ever been hypnotized? I'm a hypnotherapist, and I have some work to do.
Yeah, perhaps you do. Thanks, Joe. You know, there's an interesting video. What was that extra video, right, where we find out that Lucy's kind of in the middle of the other lines, or was that from the episode?
Yeah.
Was that?
No,
I
think that was
confused?
the extra video.
Yeah. Anyway, it looks like Lucy's a swing vote, and
or someone thinks she is.
Yeah, at least Ken does,
she
right?
has options of which way she could go.
Yeah, Ken thinks that they potentially have her. So, it's interesting. There's more going on over there than at first looks like. That
so
it may not just
Lucy, which we've heard nothing from,
yeah, she was
has
Purple
more
Lucy.
options than the rest.
Yeah, than anyone else on the tribe. So that could play out in different dynamic ways. Looking forward to seeing that. Okay, next up, we got audio from Marla and Sarah.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hi, Survivor friends. This is Marla.
And this is Sarah.
With our feedback. Sarah, what'd you think of the episode?
I couldn't tell which was more disgusting, the octopus they cut apart or the smooching.
Yes, Sarah was horrified by both of those things. You may have heard her scream when they showed them killing that octopus from where you are in the country. I was really enjoying the episode, but my JSFL season is not going well. Here was my thought process. Usually, if I pick the same USB as Drew, they get voted out either in the first or second episode. So when Drew said last week that he also chose Cece, I thought, oh, she's doomed. So I had her to go, and I had Mari safe. Sigh. I also did not have Paul safe, not realizing that dehydration would make him have superpowers, because he really seems to have bounced back. I liked watching the episode. Did you, Sarah?
Yeah.
Next week, you want to do my picks?
Yeah, I better.
Yep, you'd better. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. We hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Awesome.
All right.
There's I don't know how I ended up on it. I don't know if it was one of my survival. Yeah. One of my survival channels that I have on YouTube or what. There's this Kiwi guy, this New Zealander. And he's caught an octopus, and he said, I'll show you how to kill an octopus once you caught it. And then he turns the octopus, orients it, and bites it. And he says you have to bite it right between the eyes to kill it. That's how he kills it. So I'll have to send that to Sarah so that she can see that one. That's pretty cool.
I don't even want to see that.
Those Kiwis are tough, aren't they? They just
unless you're willing to do it and film yourself doing it, you're not sending it to Sarah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, since there are no octopi available, I guess I won't be able to send the clip to her.
Sure, I could find you one, but I won't.
Okay, next up, we got an email from Brandon in Brooklyn.
Ding dong, who is it? A massive blindside. Wow, I did not see that one coming. Down goes Mari. I have so many thoughts. I loved this episode. Congrats for David in finding an idol and hooking up with the model as his ride or die. They should be able to shake stuff up with adding Cece. I can't believe how close the immunity challenge was between Gen X and the Millennials. When the Gen X tribe won, I was shocked. I'm glad Paul didn't get medevaced. I want his downfall to be of a blindside of epic proportions. Guys, I think I have a new fave, and her name is Michelle. Wow, that girl is good. Her ability to get Will, Michaela, and Hannah to join the Triforce in a vote was very impressive. I love the rivalry that Michaela and Figgy have for each other. Michaela can't stand Figgy, yet for her own self-interest, she voted to keep her. I hope it lasts long and can end in an epic showdown road. It can be Survivor's version of Batman versus the Joker. Nice. My only question is, why did Michelle and Figgy want to vote out Mari and not someone else? I think Michelle wanted Mari out so she could have Hannah to herself as a secret weapon. I can't wait to hear everyone's thoughts. See you next week. All right, thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, I like that. So what do you think the motivation for Mari was?
What do you mean?
Why did they single out Mari to vote her out, just like Brandon asked?
I think they saw her as a bigger threat because she was talking to people. You know, there were people that liked her, and she's intelligent. So I think they just saw her as the biggest strategic threat.
So not Zeke, not Adam, not Will, who would probably be an easy one just to sort of throw away.
Well, Mari was good in the challenges and stuff too. And I don't know that either one of the guys are as coordinated as she was in challenges.
Right.
Either Adam or Zeke. And I think they think Hannah's more, they could manipulate her easier.
Yeah, good reason, huh?
Yeah.
There's certainly a basis for that now.
I don't think they've seen Adam and Zeke's best sides yet. I don't think they know enough, and they just thought she was more those.
I don't know. Zeke said the best version of himself was out there. They all got to see that.
Yeah, but they were all getting along with him, and he was doing things for their benefit.
All right.
They might need him around to make fire and stuff.
There you go. Good deal. Thanks, Brandon. Next up, let's check in with Becca and Liam.
Hi, Joe and Stacy. Hi, Survivor fan. It's me and Liam. Well, this time the Millennials didn't win. This time Gen X won. Well, instead of saying congratulations to the Millennials, say congratulations to the Gen X.
And that's who we were rooting for, weren't we?
Yeah.
We were cheering for purple. And what did you think that you would be good at in that challenge?
Ring toss.
Ring toss. Why would you be so good?
Cause I've been doing that on my birthday.
Yeah, you had ring toss at your birthday party, and it turns out the Gen Xers were pretty good at ring toss too.
Well, sorry for the interruption. Hey, I need to hold it. Let me hold it. Well, Gen X won that Tinky.
Yeah, the idol.
Yes.
And so they have what? Going into tribal council. They don't have to go to tribal council because they have
the idol.
What kind of idol was it?
It was a Tinky idol.
No, what's the name of the idol?
I don't know it.
What kind of challenge was it?
Oh, the immunity challenge.
Yeah.
The idol was the immunity challenge. Okay, done.
Okay, do you want to say bye or anything?
Bye, Joanne and Stacy. Bye, Survivor fan.
Hey, it's Becca, and I don't have anything else to say about the episode because I have so far only watched the challenge. But I wanted to say that every time I hear someone say community challenge, it makes me smile, especially because, as you heard, Liam is growing up and now calls it the immunity challenge. No matter what he calls it, I do know that he would prefer the challenges to be much muddier. So I hope we get to see some really dirty, muddy challenges this season.
It makes me sad. Community challenge is gone. He's grown up. It's immunity now.
Even the big boys liked it.
Yeah, I may have to still call it community every once in a while.
In honor of Liam.
Yes. You bet. Good deal. Thanks, Becca. Thanks, Liam. Good job, bud. Next up, we got a call from Carolyn.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Carolyn from the Beautiful Bronx. Although last week was so nice, welcome to Central Park. Welcome to Cortland Park now. It's around 60 degrees, cold and rainy. So September is going out like a lion. So I don't think that's the saying, but that's what's happening anyway. Oh boy, by Pro USB, Paul Mariko-chan. I can't believe it. I don't know how it's going to affect my standing in the side challenge, but if there's like 52 of us, no good. I really am surprised. Actually, I thought it was a really compelling episode. It was funny. When Paul went down, I was like, I think he has heat exhaustion. And that's exactly what happened to me. When it happened to me when I was about 10 years old. I couldn't feel my fingers and toes either, but I could still talk. So as soon as he could still talk, I figured, it's probably not so hard. And thank God I was right. And I do have to say, Paul really rallied at the challenge, so he came back with a vengeance. I hope it humbled him, but I wouldn't bet on it. Because, help aside, he didn't seem to be doing very well with his tribe. At least David wasn't too annoying this week. He got fire, but then again, as Casey always says, if you go out there not knowing how to make fire at all, shame on you. It's only been like 33 seasons, guys. Come on. The challenge. I really enjoyed watching it. It was wonderfully staged, wonderfully shot, some very interesting stages, neck to neck until the end. Very well done. But, well, let me put it this way. Last 20 minutes, are you guys familiar with the term mumblecore? It's the kind of movies that John Moonshore or Noah Greenberg makes. You know, Splitting the Whales, things like that. And basically, it's a bunch of millennials sitting around talking about their lives and such. I stopped going to them a few years ago, even though they're very popular here in New York. And I kind of thought the last 15 minutes of the show were like this giant mumblecore movie. I couldn't follow it, and, you know, just folded my laundry and kind of kept an ear, you know, kind of half an ear out, but definitely not my favorite time, which is a shame, because I was quite spotted when they voted out Mari at the Tribal Council. Everyone I like was rooting for it, just voted out one by one. And the 9 people remain. You don't leave a showman in there. I mean, you just don't. What are these people thinking? Really? But I guess kudos to El Michelle. I'm just going to call Michelle because that's how you're supposed to spell Michelle, unless you're a French man. But kudos to Michelle for helping put that together. Well, like I said, because of the mumblecore, I wasn't really paying attention. But, okay, so I have a few weeks to consider my new USB. If things are going to be as dramatic as they are now, who knows what's going to happen. But thank goodness we didn't get a medevac. We had a nice challenge. And aside from the last 90 seconds of the episode, it was a good one. I hope that the week is nicer than 90 seconds of it. Okay, see you next week. Thanks for all you do. Bye.
Thanks, Carolyn.
All right. No, I'd never heard that term before.
No, but it is very apropos. I think that works great. Mumblecore. It did seem like that. Yeah. Good deal. Yeah, I agree. That challenge, we've gone back. We've both rewatched the episode separately, right? And it is so beautiful out there in the middle of nothing. Carolyn's not the only one who comments on it, but it was just just seems
incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, it was epic. I mean, even though it ends with ring toss, which is an awesome game, and I'm really thrilled to hear that Liam likes it. It wasn't as edgy an ending, perhaps, as some of the others they do, but ring toss out there in the middle of the ocean like that was actually cool.
Well, and the end of all they had to do and go about getting it.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was a good challenge. I enjoyed it.
Just the way it was set out there, and as the camera comes zooming in across the water onto it, it was fantastic. Excellent. Thanks again, Carolyn. Next up, we got an email from Nicola in Lexington, Kentucky. Hi, Joanna, Stacy, and my fellow Survivor fans. This episode had me yelling at my TV on numerous occasions. Ugh, showmance. I will back up a bit and say that my daughter, who is herself a millennial, is finally watching with me. Season 3 was probably the last time we sat and watched a whole episode together. Anyway, we watched last week, and she cringed all the way through the millennial segments, but especially Figgy with her maybe finding a husband segment. Fast forward to this week, and we have the aforementioned Figgy macking down with sand in her pants and stinky breath. Or stanky breath. She was rolling her eyes along with Michaela. All I can say is I hope this duo gets split up soon, and my daughter agrees. David appeared to have a much better episode, even though he is apparently the camp mascot. Maybe he will get in on the switch next week. Speaking to that, I think it will just be something like if you win the challenge, 2 of your players get to go hang at the other beach until the next challenge, or maybe go to tribal council.
So just a fact-finding adventure.
Yep. Yep. I picked my boy Zeke, please say, like Will Ferrell when you read. Okay, I hope I was close. As my USB, so I'm hoping we can get out of the hole Will, Hannah, and 2L Michelle created for him. Yeah, he's in a bad way for sure. One last thing. I thought the scene with David and Ken was very sweet. Just goes to show you can never judge a book by its cover. Is a theme in the feedback this week. David was, however, mistaken in sharing his idol. That is valuable intel that he can use to save his own skin. Fiji is just a magnificent backdrop. We are loving all the wildlife and ocean life. Well, until next week, I have nothing else for you. Thanks again for all you do, Joanna, Stacy, and I look forward to hearing everyone else's feedback. It's great to be back. Take care. Thanks, Nicola. Glad you and your daughter were able to share that this week, even though awesome. it included the ugh moments with the millennials there. Okay, let's see what Parker had to say about this last episode.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana. My opinions on people have not changed very much, except for David and Ken. I really didn't like Ken in the first episode for some reason, and I dreaded the fact that I picked David as my winner. But Ken and David are aligned now, and David has an idol. He also started fires, so bit of a redemption arc building for David. I also like Chris and Brett, and I'm very happy that Paul didn't get medevac, even though I don't really like him. I don't even want to get started on the Millennials. They are a mess. Taylor and Figgy are so unaware of everything strategic about Survivor. At least not all of the Millennials are bad. I like Adam the most, and Zeke is also very enjoyable. I also liked Mari, but unfortunately, she was blindsided. And Hannah, I think, made the wrong move because the cool group is probably going to blindside Hannah later on. I'm also very disappointed in Adam and Zeke because I feel their decision to tell Jay kind of screwed up their plans to blindside Figgy. But next episode looks like a tribe swap. Might not be. I'm excited for it anyway.
Thanks, Parker. Yeah, definitely Zeke seemed to have stumbled, but maybe that credit really is due to Jay. Maybe he really pulled them in and made them trust him, which, you know, we don't get to see everything going on out there. So maybe it's because of how he was able to interact with Zeke that he got that extra information out of Zeke, which ended up being critical, that it all pivoted on. The fact that Michaela would be next is what flipped Michaela.
Well, at least from what they showed.
Yeah, from what they showed us. And when you saw the sit down with Figgy and Michaela, you could tell they didn't care for each other, but they saw it as the right thing to do. Michaela saw it as the right thing to do strategically. I'm not sure Figgy helped her case a whole lot with how she tried to explain it away.
No, this is just one vote. That doesn't mean that anything's going to stick for Alliance.
Yeah, I'm sure Michaela would be happy to discard her too. Yeah. Good deal. Thanks again, Parker. Hey, let's check in with Drew, see if he's liking this season any better yet.
Hey, Joanna and Stacey. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. I have a busy Saturday, but I wanted to send something in, so I'm going to try to make this pretty quick. First things first, I listened to your interview with Mari, and did it seem to anyone else like she was just clueless? Like, she didn't even understand really what you were asking. It's like, how did you get chosen to be on Survivor? Oh, I guess they just picked me. You know, I don't think she really knew. And then she said, like 200 times. But, that was fitting. She did provide some interesting insight, I guess. I don't know. It was a weird interview. But you two did a great job as always. So this was a second episode, and I think it was a good second episode. And I will say, I felt a little bit more rested when we sat down to watch it, and I did like it actually a lot better. So you know, it doesn't always take long. My Survivor grumpiness wore off, and I was pretty into it, and it made me laugh, and I was excited, and it drove me crazy, which is something that happens on Survivor, so that was good. I felt all the highs and lows that you're supposed to feel when you watch Survivor. I was actually amazed by the blindside, which is kind of surprising. Why should a blindside amaze me? But, you know, they blindside us sometimes too, so that was great. She just was so sure that they had to blindside Figgy, and then just how it happens, you know. You're expecting to blindside completely someone else, and then it happens to you. I'm afraid if I ever went on Survivor, that's what would happen to me, and I just would be so... I feel like I'd be able to play a pretty low-key game at the start and not make enemies and not ruffle feathers, but then somehow or other, I just get the blindside. Anyway, when I was younger, I think that I would have been voted out for other reasons, just because maybe I was too loud or outspoken or something, but now I think it'd just be because I'd be seen as a threat in other ways, or just not valuable. Anyway, now I'm just blah 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 about something that probably never happened. So, of course I had David to go, so it was no surprise when he found the immunity idol, but I will say at least I didn't get the double whammy. I got all my safe picks, and it's actually interesting to see Ken and David. They're a real odd couple, so that could be interesting to see how that plays out. I didn't expect Ken to be an outsider though. That was surprising too. I did think that it was kind of funny how easy it was to find the immunity idol, so yeah, of course. They always talk about how it's going to be harder and it's a big challenge or whatever, but then it's just sitting there under the tree. I kind of think now that Figgy will win, now that she's dodged this and she's kind of in control. So, Stacey, you might consider that in your assessment of her as time goes by. I'd be kind of annoyed because I think she's kind of a dum-dum, but not as dum-dum as Taylor. Gosh, that guy. Anyway, that's about all I have to say. Nothing groundbreaking that I can remember, though I will say the wife was pretty bummed that she lost her USB in the second episode. At least it wasn't the first. But then I reminded her that she was not alone. So that's just crazy that the second pick. Who knows about Zeke? You know, he's the first pick, but we'll see, because he could just ride this thing all the way, or he could just have a hard fall when he gets into a different group or switch up, and it'll be interesting as always to see what happens next, and I'm glad that I'm enjoying it a little more. And winner of the week, I actually am going to just give it to Hannah kind of arbitrarily because she is cuckoo and she made me laugh at Tribal Council with her kind of blithering and her indecision. Of course her vote was not the deciding one, but it was funny just to see some of her personality. The loser of the week, I'm going to give it to Taylor because he's just so clueless, and that annoys me. So anyway, that's all I have for today, so talk to you all later. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thanks, Drew. I'm glad you're enjoying that more. There's an extra scene that it's just a little drawn out. Most of it was in the episode, but you do get a little bit of strategizing from Figgy and Taylor, and they're talking about how they just need to sit back and let Michaela self-destruct. And so there was something to how they were playing those interactions, and it didn't. I was surprised to see this, so I thought it might be something you want to check out. It'll give you a different angle on them. They're not completely clueless, even though from the primary edit, it really does come across that way. But I think they were convinced at a certain point that Michaela was basically taking herself out. They didn't need to do anything. They didn't worry about anything. Michaela was so busy alienating everyone that she was the obvious choice to go at one point.
And there may be some truth to that. However, I saw that clip as well. And I just thought part of it was their arrogance, that they're the in people.
Yeah, I guess that's another way you could read it, too. So maybe it's not that different.
I'm not discounting the point
I'm not trying to champion them by any means.
No. I'm just saying I did hear that and see that, but then they kind of hugged him. Oh, no, and we're fine.
Right.
So anyway,
okay.
I don't think they thought they had a chance of leaving so much because they're with the in people.
Because if I think it must be true. Yes. There's a lot of people who fall into that fallacy these days, it seems like.
Yep.
Thanks again, Drew. Glad you're enjoying it more. Next up, we got a quick email from JK in Rhode Island.
Hi, Joanna, Stacy. I just wanted to share with you a post from page 6. Survivor castaway Hannah Shapiro was recently in the Big Apple for some interviews. After leaving the EW office building, she was approached by a man offering to sell her the Brooklyn Bridge. The man accepted what Hannah had in her purse, $89 and some change, and she was given the title to the bridge. Hannah was so excited about her good fortune that she tweeted out to her survivor friends, "I just bought the Brooklyn Bridge." Within seconds, millennial Michaela tweeted back, "That's impossible. I just bought the bridge yesterday."
All right.
That. Thanks, JK.
Nice bit of sarcasm there. Yeah, Hannah does appear to be mighty gullible at this point. So I like what you did there. Next up, we got a call from Kenny.
Hey, guys. It's Kenny from Dallas. I'm surprised I'm still watching this show because I don't fit on either tribe. Remember from the first episode, it said, "Which tribe are you on?" I'm a boomer, so I still watch the show, and I guess I'll pull for the Gen Xers because they're closer to my generation. And I guess, Stacey, if you're a Gen Xer, you could have been cast for the show. On your occupation, you may have put country western singer.
Yes.
You may want to sing the theme song to Survivor. I think they need something new. I think this was the first episode. There was no intro at all to the show. I could be wrong. Maybe I TiVoed through it really quick. Well, there are always some analogies to previous Survivor players. Rob and Amber, I see, are the new Figgy and Taylor. No, that's completely different. Figgy and Taylor are completely clueless, and they should be voted off. Jay and the so-called Triforce is the only one who seems to have a measure of self-awareness, and I do not think David is a new incarnation of Cochran, even 1.0. Cochran was smarter than David ever was, less insecure. David just makes me nervous. My USB, Zeke, is hanging in there, and he did do something which Probst loves, which is he overcomes his limitations. He finds strength that he didn't realize he had before when he made fire, and I'm hoping that he gets on the right side of the tribe he's on, because right now he's on the wrong side. I think Ken is an intriguing player on the Gen X side. I think he has the wherewithal and the self-awareness, I think, to go far in this game. Maybe I should have picked him for my USB. I decided not to pick my namesake. All right, now to go to the downside of this episode, and it's something I've said before, and I really think it's unnecessary and it's bad. There's no other way forward. We're big Survivor fans, but I have to call it when I see it. This hype, number one, of Paul, maybe he has a heart attack, as a teaser for the upcoming episode, this past episode, shows what kind of entertainment value are they expecting for this show. That, oh, maybe this guy's going to have a heart attack on real-life TV. That's really exciting. I should tune in. That's wrong. And then to cut during the current episode where they cut to commercial, like, oh, maybe he'll die, before, when the commercial gets done. It is so morally, ethically wrong that it really turns me off, frankly. And I deal with this every day. It's not fun. It's life-changing to their families. It's not good. Plus, there was a lot of misinformation in that little segment. You cannot diagnose or rule out a heart attack just based upon someone's symptoms and the EKG. The EKG was actually pretty well done, and it seemed to give a reasonable normal sinus rhythm. There was no immediate evidence of cardiac damage, full T waves, elevated ST segment. But the way to rule out a heart attack, frankly, is to get blood work done and to see the evolution of cardiac enzymes, because as the heart muscle breaks down, enzymes are released into the blood, which are not normally present. So I think it was misleading to the general public, like, hey, you can rule out a heart attack pretty easily if you just do a jungle EKG. So I'm sorry to be a downer in that respect, but it is wrong on so many levels. I thought it was a good episode, taking out that 3 or 4 minutes of this so-called heart attack. And so I think so far it's been a pretty good season. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Kenny. I love all that extra information you bring to the listener feedback show when you chime in and your perspective, too. I agree, the pandering, the rubbernecking, car wreck rubbernecking kind of play that they make to pull viewers in, it does seem unnecessary. And of course we have a different perspective on how great the show is to begin with, that we don't think it needs it, but I guess I understand
we're fans. It's like, why are you doing that?
Right. And of course,
why do you feel a need to do that?
The downsides, like Kenny pointed out, which I appreciate and respect. Thank you for that, Kenny. Let's for another take on the medical event in this past episode, let's check in with Michael.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hi, Survivor fans. This is Michael in Utah. I just have a short note, won't take but a few seconds, regarding the episode. I think it's Paul, was it? That if they did a medical evaluation of his condition, what he had was heat exhaustion going towards heat stroke. When his extremities, like his hands and his arms, start going numb, it's because he sweated out his electrolyte. With the lack of electrolytes, then the muscle fibers won't contract, or they will contract uncontrollably. And also the nerve receptors won't fire, which leads to this numbing sensation. So the solution to that is the water and electrolytes. Just thought I'd share that with you. That's all I got time for. It's been a great season so far. I love the podcast, and I love listening to the listener feedback. You guys take care. You're welcome at my fire anytime.
Thanks for calling in with that, Michael. I enjoyed that additional angle on what was going on to help understand it a little better. And who knows, it might help you down the road somehow knowing that, right? You know what I'm surprised with, Paul, is that if he were drinking the coconut water, the coconut milk from the green coconuts, that's supposed to be just chock full of electrolytes. So maybe he was just doing water.
Maybe he wasn't.
Yeah, he missed out on getting his electrolytes that were somewhat readily available there in camp.
Okay.
Thanks for that, Michael. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California. Dang it, that sucks. I don't know who to cheer for now that Mari's gone. I thought for sure she was going to make it a lot further in the game than she did. I was shocked when I saw that play out, but not surprised, as I knew she was going to be harder to vote out later on. I found that Tribal Council segment to be quite entertaining to see all the different dynamics playing out at once. I do hope we see her again in a future season, and we'll look forward to it if we do. Well, there's a solid Mari fan. I'm glad to know that Paul turned out to be okay, and David finding the idol was just pure luck, in my opinion. It was way too easy to find it. As for next week on Survivor, there is some type of twist, and I think it may be a tribe swap, but that is way too early. I can't wait to hear what you guys think it might be. Anyone want to try octopus? Thanks, Jack. I think I've had that before. I think I had that when I was in Singapore.
It seems like I have too, but I don't remember where.
Yeah.
But anyway, sure, I would.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Maybe we'll find some place to try it.
I would think it would be kind of rubbery, but I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, good deal. Thanks, Jack. Next up, let's check in with Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my survivor friends. This is Rashmi from Perth. Now, this was a very exciting episode and had me totally engrossed. But my USB, Mari, she's gone. Oh my God, I was totally blindsided and I was really, really upset for a little while only though. Now, back to the episode. I just think Fiji is beautiful. Look at the color of the water and the beach. Everything just looks gorgeous. Those underwater fishing scenes with this octopus, amazing. Now, I found that this episode had a bit of everything. So there was a hidden immunity idol that was found, and then it was found by the person who was totally on the outs. Then there was a medical emergency, which of course was very scary. And I loved the challenge. It was in the water, and I especially loved the floating boards that the teams were standing on. And I was so sure that the Millennials were going to win, but then it was so very exciting to see a come from behind victory by the Gen X's. There was romance on the island. Imagine you're on an island and there's no romance. So there was romance there as well. And then we had a bit of comedy there as well, with Jeff giving a little peekaboo while he was checking out on Hannah. And we had a local crazy on the island, aka Hannah. And so there you go. That was the whole episode. And yes, Mari was gone. So that's it. I don't know who's going next. Look, I had no idea Mari was on the chopping block. I had thought it'd be CC, or I don't know who else would have gone. I'm looking forward to the next episode, because if it is anything like this one, it will be loads of fun. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Rashmi. Next up, we got a call from Shea.
Hi, Joanne. Hi, Stacy. This is Shea. I just listened to the feedback episode from episode 1 and was shocked to hear myself talking. I forgot that I had called in, and I must say, in comparison to all your other callers, I sound like a bumbling idiot.
No.
My thoughts all scrambled. You have so many great callers, you know, with all kinds of hooks and sayings that they do, and great kids. And Paul from Louisiana, good Lord, his speaking voice is so beautiful. He could be a narrator for the Discovery Channels. I'm going to do what I can to make sense of my thoughts here. Okay, episode 2. I definitely think the credit goes to Michelle for the big move. Even Ray was ready to vote Figgy out, his own alliance, and when he brought that to Michelle, she was like, yeah, that's not going to work. So the scrambling began, and I have to say, I was totally blown away that both Michaela and Hannah kind of fell for the bait. I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't. Let's see, another observation. Ken, I thought it was really funny that he thought him and David mirrored each other. That made me actually laugh out loud. But, you know, you can be good looking and still be really awkward, and maybe he just really relates to David in that way. And I noticed that he also was having conversations with Cece, so I was glad to see he was trying to create an alliance group. But then during the challenge, both David and Cece floundered hard. Cece redeemed herself a little in the end, but I was thinking, oh gosh, you know, this alliance that Ken has made, they could be some of the first to go just due to their lack of skills and challenges. I wanted to say something about the legacy advantage. I think it would be really cool if there was like a social twist to it, like the person who actually has it in their possession on day 36, rather than having an advantage in the challenge, they can choose one of the two people they're playing against to have a disadvantage in the challenge. I think that'd be really interesting and a hard decision to make. Oh, also, the rocks in a bag twist for next week. What if they're drawing rock on each tribe, and on each tribe, 3 people get like a black rock, and those 3 people from each tribe, equaling 6, become a third tribe? I think that'd be really interesting, but who knows? What do I know? It was a really great week of episodes. I can't wait for next week. You guys have a great day. Bye.
That's right. It is down to 18.
Yep. And You're doing great, Shea. So just keep it up. You're doing fantastic. Don't stress about your feedback. You're doing really good.
I never like hearing myself.
Yeah, it's yes, and we get to hear ourselves a lot.
Always way more critical of ourselves.
Yes,
Shea.
yeah.
That's typical.
Yep, absolutely. So you're in good company.
Good job.
Yeah, so the idea about the draw the three, and that would be funny if they don't tell them when they tell them to do it what it's for. And that was the the thing that popped in my head when Shea was saying that. Not only do they just assume that they're gonna go over for a little bit, or because that's happened before and then come back, but that they actually get spun out into another tribe. So I don't know. You made that a possibility again, I guess, where we had started ruling it out that they wouldn't necessarily go that way.
Yeah, because you had kind of thought they would do 3 tribes, but I didn't.
Yeah, it just, you made your case for they were, they had invested so much in this premise, and it looked like they were going to push it for a while through the season that maybe they won't. But I don't know. Shea's idea could pan out. Could be. All right, thanks again, Shea. Next up, we got an email from Bill in Beavercreek, Oregon.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is how my wife makes her JSFL picks every week. Her name in JSFL is WAG. She wrote the players' names on dominoes, put them in a bag, and she picked. In this picture, he sent us a picture, you can see that Rachel's domino is turned upside down, which shows she's out of the game. We might suggest this method for Rhonda, but it's too late for this season.
Yeah.
Last season, WAG beat me, Mr. Bill, in JSFL with a similar method, which was pointing at Paul's roster to choose. My mom, the Bat from Iowa, is playing this season too.
That's her JSFL name.
Yeah.
Not a description. Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Thanks for your shows. All right. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. A little behind the scenes on how they manage the JSFL.
That's right.
At their household. Next up, we got a call from Aaron.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. This is Aaron from Busan, South Korea. I'm here to talk about episode 2. Oh, by the way, Busan is actually spelled B-U-S-A-N. There's so many spellings for the city, so it's kind of hard. Sometimes it's spelled with a P, sometimes it's spelled with a B, but I think it's A-N. Yeah, it's A-N. Survivor, I guess I'm trying to find ways to distract myself because my USB that I picked, Mari, left the game, and still kind of unsure why. I mean, I guess. I just feel so triggered watching Michelle because I know all last season people were like, oh, Michelle is going to win. Look at all the things she's doing. Oh, and then now I'm kind of seeing the same kind of threads again this season, and they really are back-to-back Michelle winners. I'm going to, oh my God. But you know what? I think I may have to jump on this Michelle truther bandwagon because Michelle was really good at being able to use different skills to pull in different people at different times in the game in order to get the vote that she wanted. And that's so dangerous. And the fact that I don't think people are going to be looking at Michelle right away because of it is just going to make everything so chaotic. I don't know. I think Michelle might be my new choice. It pains me to say because I really don't. I remember, not really being a Michelle truther last season and seeing it and hearing so much about it. And then now I feel like the same thing's going to happen. And I'm just like, but Mari, I'm excited to see where the game goes from here. I think I'm very curious to see how that Millennials tribe shakes out. I think I'm actually less mad at the fact that Mari left because I don't really think she did too much to save herself. Not that she really knew, but I think I'm more mad that Figgy and Taylor are still there. I think that's what makes me a bit more mad because they were so smug about it. Even on social media, they were a bit smug about it. So, I just want to see, your plans fail and you get voted out. Michaela's so funny. Rooting for her. I'm loving Zeke so far. Gen X, I really don't have much to say about Gen X, but I think Ken is a lot better in my book than I thought he would be, and I love his alliance with Dave. I think those two would work very well together, and I'm curious to see how they are able to turn the Gen X tribe around. But right now, I'm just kind of like on the Gen X. I'm curious to hear what everybody else has to say, because I have no idea what to do for JSFL now, so I'll talk to you all later. Bye.
Thanks, Aaron.
Well, at least you have some time before you get to choose a new USB.
There you go. There.
That won't be till after the merge.
So Brandon, that's two others just in this listener feedback. You got Carolyn and Aaron that are also in the side challenge, and then there's at least one more. So that's 4. So you're close to the number you were hoping for. That had Mari. I don't know why I'm laughing. I got Figgy. That's such a sad. Okay, thanks, Aaron. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Okay, I am in the car here with no visual aids, and I'm still having trouble with names, so here goes. Let's see if I can put something coherent together. Off the top of my head, I want to discuss Hannah and her flip-flop at the tribal council. I thought she started out really strong by saying, you need to give me a reason to vote out Mari. I can't just do it without a reason. I really just wanted her to stay strong, and that should have just ended the conversation right there. If she's set on voting out Figgy, she should have been aware enough to know that Michelle was on Figgy's side, and therefore the absolutely last person that she should be taking last-minute advice from at Tribal Council. Secondly, we listened to Hannah in the whole first episode saying, the misfits need to unite. The pretty people are over there forming strong bonds. We need to form strong bonds. And in the end, she is the one who is the weak link in the Misfits Alliance. Well, not the only one. We know that Willow is another weak link, but nevertheless. She seemed to be the one that initially led the charge for building an alliance with Mari, and at the last minute she allows herself to be persuaded by someone who, when asked to give a reason, says, I can't give a reason right now, but I'll give one later, I promise. I mean, that's like my son saying, Mom, can I have this toy? I really want it. I'll clean my room later, I promise. But this decision is a little more interesting than that. Joanna and Stacy, I just finished listening to the podcast with Stacy and you wondering what would have happened had Hannah stuck to her guns and still voted for Figgy. I was trying to do the numbers too, and I think that she was in a no-win situation. So I thought to myself, does this change things for her? Like, in a sense, was it okay that she voted for Mari? I think not, because in voting for Mari, not only does she become the bottom member on this Cool Kids Alliance that she didn't want to be a part of, but she also reveals herself as someone who is easily swayed and convinced to change her mind. If she would have stuck to her guns and voted for Figgy, she still would have been on the losing end of this vote, but will have revealed herself to her alliance members that she is strong and committed. And in the game of Survivor, things change every day, so she would have been on a lot more solid footing. So in the end, I think it really would have paid off better dividends for her had she stuck to her original vote. But since this was the most interesting thing for me in the episode, I guess I'll just switch gears to Will. I think Will, in being persuaded to change his mind, just really shows that he is the youngest and least mature person out there on that beach. I think he's doing his best to be thoughtful and discerning in the game, but I think that he's going to suffer the same fate as Hannah. He just put himself on the bottom and has shown himself to be somebody whose mind is easily changed. That's it for me. I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. It was another great episode. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Jen. I liked your analysis. It's very coherent. Well said. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, there were a few bright spots this week, but a number of things left me wanting to heave a brick at my TV. This week's observations. The editing in last week's Next Time on Survivor was criminally deceptive, with the doctor saying Paul might have had a heart attack, David looking like the next coming of Machiavelli, and neither one of these being close to true. It was like a suspect saying, you think I'm a murderer, but I'm not, in a taped interview, and the prosecutor only playing the I'm a murderer part of for the jury. The as the stomach churns melodrama over Hannah's meaningless vote didn't endear the editors to me either. Speaking of melodrama, I'm done with the prom king and queen. Their gameplay and attitude stink worse than their breath. Please don't let them make it to the end. On a positive note, David made a strong start on a redemption arc, starting a fire, finding the idol, forming a tight bond with Ken, and calming way down. I think our walking reactor meltdown has found his control rod in Malibu Ken. Swim mask fins and fishing spears sold separately. Also impressed me greatly. I wasn't surprised by his fishing prowess or affinity for carnival games, but his quiet competence, leadership, and empathy are refreshing and unexpected. I hope he and David stick together and go far. The Millennials' initial reaction to being at Tribal Council reminded me of a bunch of puppies sitting around wagging their tails, cute, bubbly, and largely clueless. Note to Hannah, if Jeff pokes his head into the voting booth to see if you're still alive, you're dithering too much. I was very sad to see Mari go out so early. Bonus clips and interviews paint a clear picture of Will sabotaging her game on day one and then voting against her because she wouldn't work with him. He's 18 and it shows. Has anyone seen Purple Lucy? I could have sworn she was part of the cast. I wonder if next week's tribe mix-up would have been different if Rachel and Mari were still around. In my mind's eye, I see 3 teams split by age, and the core of the new middle tribe being Michelle, Zeke, Mari, and Ken. I think they would have rocked. That's a potent combination there, huh? Mm-hmm. If they could join together. I was impressed to hear Stacy's early attempt at his side challenge payoff song. Oh, that's what you thought that was, huh? Mm-hmm. Hopefully he'll have it properly polished, practiced, and ready for us by the time the season ends. Anyway, that's all I have for you now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thank you, Josh. Entertaining as always. You know, as I was going back through the episode, I started to think, I believe Michaela is secretly giving us the lyrics to a country song, because the part about, doing magic and not walking in with the rabbit, but pulling it out of your hat, that kind of thing, and how dumb Figgy was. I think that might actually be the first verse in the song. I'm decoding it right now to see if I can arrange it properly. And then the chorus is, your breath stank and you have sand in your drawers, and that's disgusting. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, so you made us relive it again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next up, we got a call from JWaffles.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor fans at home. This is JWaffles from Canada with some thoughts on Week 2 of Survivor, Gen X versus Millennials. And I have to say right off the bat that this season is already starting to be a doozy. After last night's vote out, I was more than a little annoyed at the result and how it might affect the future of my USB.
You're my boy!
Yes, you are my boy, Zeke. I suppose that this is a direct result of having a stake in the overall performance of one individual, but man, it makes it stressful, and I am reminded as to why I leave the gambling to the professionals when I'm in Vegas. Okay, top observations. It was nice to see David finally calm down a bit to do something productive like make fire and finding an idol while collecting rocks. I guess having it hidden in a marked coconut is somewhat like hiding it in plain sight, but it looked way more obvious than a clever hiding spot like a hollowed-out tree. Seriously good work on his part, and that alliance will not see it coming. I gained a bit more respect for Jay during his confessional about Figgy and Taylor's romance. At least his head is in the game and not on romantic endeavors. I still don't love the bro talk, but it shows some awareness on his part, which is more than I can say about the couple. This episode really showcased a great side of Ken, and no, not just his looks. He is not only a capable provider with spearfishing, but also both thoughtful and understanding when dealing with the more neurotic members of the tribe. I think this is what the ladies would call the strong, silent type. Couple that with being strong in challenges, and you've got a great contender for overall winner. And what was Michaela doing with that machete? That whole sequence was super erratic and crazy. It made me nervous. Here's a survival tip that should be shared. Don't cut your fingers off. Now, it seems that Paul's heart attack was blown way out of proportion, and it's difficult to say if his condition was really that bad. I'm not discounting how frightening it would be, but talk about an overreaction. Sure, David might not be able to break a stick, but at least he was able to control his issues. Well, for now, anyway. Now, isn't Fiji beautiful? And that challenge location, just amazing. I loved how it was in the middle of the water. I also enjoyed Hannah's little adorkable quips cheering on her tribe, too. Adorkable. David is about as comfortable in the water as he is on the land. Is it possible to still be a fish out of water while in the water? The overall challenge seemed to be a little bit too easy as it compared to past seasons. Perhaps they learned something from last season where a big part of the challenges was apparently not to die. Maybe the rings could have been further back or maybe even smaller. And poor Mari, voted out by the cool kids. I'm sure there's more to the story, but I do not care for Michelle's gameplay whatsoever. You could really see her skills as a recruiter shine while she practically begged Hannah to join her without giving any reason and without even needing the votes. It was just weak gameplay all around. Yes, Mari was a threat, but no more a threat than the Survivor equivalent of an extended Tinder date. I'm not really sure what to make of next week, but things are certainly getting interesting. Have a great week. Bye.
Great commentary. Thanks for that, JWaffles. Let's check in with Jeremiah, see what he thought about episode 2.
Hello, Joanna Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. This is Jeremiah Panhorst here with some feedback for episode 2 of Survivor 33. And might I say that was a fantastic second episode. We had so much great drama and excitement. We are in a Gen X tribe. David's shocking the heck out of me. Man, oh man, this guy. I just don't know what to think of him. But finding the idol and then making a tight bond with Ken. You know, I know they don't have the numbers on their side right now, but I think this is a twosome we need to keep an eye on. I think they're going to go far in the game. Now, I was glad to see that Paul was okay, but I tell you what, obviously, most of the excitement and drama was definitely coming on this millennial tribe. Wow, can you believe it? Myra is out of the game. Would have never dreamed this scenario to happen. I mean, not only was she in my Final Four, but she was a lot of people's winners picks, obviously. I just can't believe it. And really, this comes down to one player more than anything else. And that's Michelle. Kudos to you, Michelle. I will be the first to admit I had her pegged completely wrong in the preseason. Would have never seen this coming from her, right? That was masterful gameplay. You had Jay, of course, pretty much giving up on his alliance, you know, by saying, you know, oh, you know, hey, they're making themselves a target. I'm out on them. And then Michelle was like, I'm not giving up my numbers. And that girl went to work. That was awesome to see her do that. The way she turned everybody around was so cool. I just loved it. And then, of course, Tribal Council. That was man, that was so much fun to watch. Can you believe she was able to get Hannah to change her mind and change her vote? That never happens, right? In Tribal Council, hardly ever does that happen. Oh my gosh, that was just great television. I so much enjoyed that. Kudos to you, Michelle. Seriously, that was fantastic. I definitely guess we could throw a little bit of blame, obviously, to Adam and Zeke for confiding so much information into it. Jay, apparently, though, from what I understand, Jay did come to them first and convinced them to say, hey, I'm on your guys' side. So I get that. But wow, Michelle obviously is the big hero here in this episode, and I am definitely going to keep a close eye on Michelle now. Now, as far as next week's concerned, obviously it looks like they're going to be mixing up the tribes. What do you guys think? I think they might be doing this 3 teams of 6 like they did with Second Chances. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards. Now, if they do that, that's going to make picking who's going to go home next week for JSFL almost impossible. Although, I would think with 3 tribes of 6 means probably a big target's going to go home. Somebody who thought they were on top is now going to go home. Maybe like somebody like a Jessica or somebody like that. So I haven't decided who I'm going to go with, but who knows? It's going to be crazy, but that's it for me. You guys take care, and until next time, this is Jeremiah calling in one more time from Missouri. Out.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Great insights as always. Okay, up next, let's check in with Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. So Paul stayed in the game, and you know what? That's the most shocking thing that happened for me in this episode. But luckily, it was just one of a few shocking moments, which made the episode wonderful for me. Now, does anyone here remember Chet, the edgy Aussie who failed spectacularly back on I forget what season? Well, at least he ran and dived off platforms and into the water. David, well, he comes to a complete stop so he can build up the courage to make the plunge. Yikes. It went almost exactly as I expected it would when he got up there, but I was sure he'd miss and have to do it all over again. Kudos to him on that grab, and of course on making the fire and the immunity idol find. And even though those are 3 pluses, I still feel no better about him as my USB. Maybe it's because I had him picked to go this week, and he let me down where it really counts, in my JSFL score. And I meant to watch again to be sure, but wasn't that coconut hinged or something? I thought I saw a big seam in it, but I could easily be wrong about this. Now Ken, on the other hand, you know what? I think I like this guy when I was absolutely positive that I wouldn't. He's David's friend now? Could this be the start of a JT and Steven style bromance? I'm just speechless. I'm also shocked that he's not part of the main alliance because this book apparently can't be judged by its cover. I'm keeping my eye on him now, and hopefully the mix-up will be kind to him. So let's get right down to it and admit that Figgy did nothing to save herself. It was Michelle that walked into the room with a hat and eventually pulled the rabbit out. Figgy wasn't even concerned when her name was brought up. She was just a trifle upset about it. and still just let it run its course while Michelle did all the heavy lifting so that Figgy could stay. And she just isn't worth it. Michelle and Jay really took control of their tribe there, and I'm incredibly impressed. Jay appears to be Taylor and Figgy's handler, while Michelle is managing Will and Hannah. Michelle appears to be a force to be reckoned with, which is blowing my mind because I never saw that coming. I have to say that she impressed me this episode. Meanwhile, Hannah dropped a considerable amount of points with me because although she pointed out that Michelle was ripping through the water, she didn't realize that Michelle was ripping through her at Tribal Council. I think what we saw was a textbook example of duress, and Michelle worked it beautifully. I can't wait to see how Hannah handles the fallout from this. In fact, I wish we weren't mixing things up so we could watch all the fireworks. So next to go? Well, it's just a guess at this point because with the mix-up coming, everything is up in the air. I'm going to say David again. I'm going to say David, especially if he gets put on another team. I guess that's it for me. Oh, and bros, just a heads up. Don't skip out on bowling night to be with your babe, okay? Because it's not cool. Not cool at all. Bye.
All right. Thanks for that extra advice there, Paul. Good deal. Chet didn't dive, though. Chet ran off the... You're right. He didn't stop the way David did, but he would hold his arms out like someone who was preparing to dive and then run straight off and then drop into the water with his arms still out. He didn't dive, but... Yeah, I like the comparison.
Well, even Chris looked like he kind of did a belly flop. Didn't he? The way he might have hit a little flat. He wasn't as smooth as like when Paul dove in to go over to get the idol down into the water.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Something sparked when Paul was talking about Ken there. I'm wondering if it might have gone back to that beginning part where Ken sort of stepped on Paul, when they first met and were introducing themselves, and Paul was saying, hey, I'm so happy that it's us together. That's changed the odds because we're here, we're Gen X, and we do this. And then Ken said, and we got to remember to be humble. Those kids have been thinking, they're all brought up to be thinkers and all that. And it felt to me like Ken stepped on Paul a little bit when he did that.
But Ken also said, he wanted to guide them because he had a lot of experience out there.
Right. He offered to put himself in a leader position. And what has Paul told us? He wants the control.
He has to be in control.
He thrives on being in the control. So
that might have put him on the outs.
That might
be
what's got him shoved to the outside like that. So lucky David that happened. Right? It might be enough to save him. Now, so several people are thinking we're going to go into 3 tribes.
For some reason, I don't think it is. I still don't think it is.
Not that they haven't bailed on their, core concept early in the game before. They certainly have when they've split things up.
Though I still think we'll get to see the fireworks because I think that's going to happen the minute they get
from
back
the next time on Survivor. Yeah, it's obviously. And it looked like Zeke was going to mishandle that a bit because you want to be able to tell Hannah, I think you screwed up and here's why. But the way he was saying those things, it sounded like it might end up making her feel bad.
He's emotionally charged.
Yeah, and he's going to end up pushing her further towards them.
I think he can recover it, but possibly.
Maybe not, because all Michelle has to do is swoop in and scoop Hannah up and say, hey, I'm sorry they're being mean to you like that.
I would not trust her after that.
Yeah, but Hannah is going to get flustered because Zeke's going to go on the attack, and she's not going to be able to manage herself. She's not going to be able to get a word in, and then she could be right for Michelle to further cement that control of her.
Well, I'm looking forward to finding that out, so come on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's how we like to end the week. We get this great episode, we get together, we talk about it, we have these great ideas, predictions, observations, new insights, and we're stoked for Wednesday night.
You can ponder and drive yourself nuts before the next bet.
Or just have fun thinking about it.
That too.
Hey, we want to thank everybody who took the time to send in their thoughts and predictions this week for us to ponder and enjoy. We'll be mulling that over as we get ready to make our picks. And we also want to thank Catherine for your subscription donation. We appreciate that very much.
And don't forget to get your picks in before the deadline on Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific. So, anything else?
Did you want to make a prediction for who ends up going?
Next week, I'm going to say,
There's definitely something weird about the shuffle and how it goes down. When it happens.
I'll go with Gen X.
Whatever it is. You think someone from Gen X is going, and it's going to be...
Man, I don't know. Could be Cece, David, or...
She's primed to do awful in a
what
challenge.
What if Lucy does go with David, Cece, and Ken?
No, flip the script.
If they... Now, that's still not the numbers, but if they play the idol.
Yeah. Could be enough. Which, I don't have any bad ill will towards Chris and Brett.
No, me either. I like
and not
them.
even Paul. Man, if you watch the extra videos, both Brett and Chris and Sunday all say fabulous things about Paul.
Yeah.
Brett just is gushing about how much he doesn't want to lose him because he's the life of the party and he's just entertaining. And I'm wondering when Jessica's eyes are going to take her out. I don't want that to happen, but we were watching one of the extra videos, watching her talk, and her eyes are just still flaming red.
I would have to say Cece.
Yeah, out of all those, yeah.
Yeah, even over Dave. Well, David's got.
Might be a red
so.
herring, but
Yeah.
they're definitely talking about her struggling in challenges. So
For right now, I'm going to say Cece. How about you?
That's as good as anything. I'm
Copycat.
more interested in what all the fallout is in the millennial tribe.
You ask me, then you drop the ball.
I didn't drop the ball.
Okay.
I saw the same thing you saw. I have the same conclusion. That's not dropping the ball, you goober. All right. Anything else you want to say? Stop. We got to finish this. Got to wrap it up.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody have a great week, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday.
Yeah. Have a good one.